Hello, welcome to this week's episode of Sportscast Podcast. This week we'll take a look at some sporting events that kicked off or are about to kick off in Wimbledon and the Tour de France, a quick look at the T20, as well as the action from the Austrian Formula One Grand Prix, and a full roundup of the action from the Euros. Join us now. Liam, hello.
Hello, how are you?
I'm very good, thank you. How are you?
Yeah, very well, thank you, very well.
Good. We are without James this week, so it's just going to be the two OGs. Where do you want to make a start?
I think let's get the Formula One, as exciting as it was, done and dusted.
Yes, it was an exciting race. We, of course, were in Austria. I really, really like Austria, and the reason I really like Austria is because of the 3 DRS zones on the track. You don't often get 3 DRS zones on one track, but I really, really like it promotes overtaking. It promotes kind of late lunges and a lot of overtaking. And I generally enjoyed the race until about the 58th lap.
Yeah, I thought it would have been a bit later for you for that. Was it not the 60th? But
Was it 60th?
yeah, but no, I like Austria. It's an old school track. It's not a street circuit. It's a track that's got straights, hairpins. You know, it invokes overtaking. It's one of the second, third shortest track on the grid.
One of the older tracks as well.
Yeah, and what I love about Austria is you don't. I think you get about 60,000 people there on race day. It's one of the smaller capacities, but it's one of the best crowds.
It is. Well, they're all wearing orange, obviously supporting Max. But to be fair, I think they kind of like shepherded them all into 2 grandstands.
They tend to, don't they? Yeah.
Because they are the Millwall of Formula One.
Well,
so the main talking point, obviously, for those that haven't seen the race, is kind of Max Verstappen was leading from Norris, had an extremely poor pit stop, 6.5 seconds, which brought Lando within a couple of seconds, within striking distance. Couldn't warm his tyres up as good as the McLaren and ended up locking up Lando within 1 second within DRS range. Chased each other for a few laps, and then well, I'm kind of skipping ahead, actually. I think, Liam, personally, Max moved in the braking zone whilst braking at least twice in the run-up to the incident.
Agree. Massively agree. And including of the incident.
Whether
people give it the whole, his nose was ahead, yes, it was, but you cannot move, A, more than twice.
Yeah.
Which he definitely was doing. And B, under braking. And to sum it up, when they both had their incident, I'll let you explain that in a little bit. Lando was probably a slower puncture, and he tries to overtake Max, and he has to go onto the grass again because Max just drifts over and puts him onto the grass.
Yeah, 100%. So Max,
when he's got a full puncher, when they shouldn't be racing, Max even then tries to force him off a track when he shouldn't be racing. Yeah.
So Max has always been an aggressive racer. However, since he's won his world championship, since 2021, he has actually not mellowed out because he's still quite an aggressive racer as racing goes. But what he's done is he's very smart with his racing. He's not as wild. Like I'll give it Yuki Tsunoda, for example. He creates moments of brilliance, but he is wild. Yes, and in this instance, what happened is Lando Norris was making real good headway down the straight towards turn 3.
Yeah.
And Lando took the outside of the corner. He's had no success on the inside. And what happened was the Max Verstappen see in the post-race interview, he said that he steered first, then braked. But to me, the cars were slowing. He steered right to try and cover off Lando. Lando kind of
went left.
He squeezed him as hard as he possibly could, and they collided. It was the softest of touches, but Max ended up with a puncture. After the corner, you are right that Lando did move to the right-hand side to try and overtake him, and Max being Max, I think it was an intent, 100% intentional. Pushed him onto the grass to stop him overtaking. Could have Lando limped back to the pits with a slower puncture and ended up potentially? I don't think so. And the reason I don't think that is because the amount of damage that came off his car from that puncture was immense. So I don't think it would have necessarily changed anything. However, it just shows the character and the attitude of Max, especially in that situation.
Yeah, without repeating it, I think Max was in the wrong. He doesn't like to, and I've seen interviews afterwards. Christian Horner's come out and basically said that he did nothing wrong. It was all Lando. And when you've got a team of people around you that never admit that you also do wrong, it's very difficult for you to ever see that you do wrong.
I actually like Horner as well. It doesn't bode well for like the brand. Like
no.
Dietrich Messerschmidt died last year, and he left behind a brand and a company that he'd built. Obviously not Formula One, but Red Bull itself, over many decades. And you've got Christian Horner caught up in his scandal, his WhatsApp scandal. Didn't admit liability or fault, even though it was plain for everybody in the media in the world to see. Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? It replicates that attitude and that non-fault kind of mental state replicates in a team, and that's not good. I think Zach's very honest.
Yeah.
I think Lando's very honest. I think the McLaren team are up and coming. Certainly, Max has had a very difficult time over the last few races in terms of, yes, he has been victorious like 3 out of the last 4 times, but it's not been easy for him at all.
No. Well, I think hopefully that's what it is. I hope he gets a bit more competition from Mercedes and Ferrari, and it doesn't just stay a McLaren Red Bull. Because I think if you bring other people into it, I don't think Max will be able to do what he does. And, you know, with his history of racing against Lewis, I mean, you know, especially at Silverstone, and with that being next week, it'll really start to bring out, you know, I don't take anything away from these people's abilities. I said the same about Vettel. It's very easy to start the racing first and lead from first and never really have any competition.
Yeah.
People say it about Lewis, but his own teammate won a world championship against him, you know.
Yeah.
Vettel didn't have it. Max is definitely not going to have that, where your own teammate's going to take a world title off you.
Yeah.
He needs to
be challenged.
And I think when he does, he'll get cut out. I mean, he did get a 10-second penalty for that today.
Yeah.
Which took him he ended up finishing 5th. It took him from 5th to 5th.
Yeah. So
where's the reprimand for doing wrong? Your own team.
There's there's no sporting penalty there. And whether he'll get points on his license, I mean, he's not been in a challenging situation to afford to get points, to give him points. But
no.
Just quickly before we move on from Formula One, the only change in the constructors is that Haas have now leapfrogged Alpine into 7th with a really, really good double points finish from both teams. It's just that Haas obviously had the better day, with Hülkenberg finishing in 5th and Magnussen, 6th, and then Magnussen finishing in 8th. So great weekend from Haas.
Good recovery, yeah. Dead quick then. Afghanistan made the T20 semi-finals, which for the first time in the history, they did unfortunately lose when it saw India-South Africa final, which India won their first major title for 13 years. So, a big coup there for India. Wimbledon starts this Monday as well. I think it's still 50-50 on whether Andy Murray's going to be playing in it. He's not come out and said either way.
Yeah.
And
I don't know if you caught the Andy Murray documentary on BBC Two, I think it was yesterday.
Haven't yet. No, I haven't.
I enjoyed it. It was good. If anybody's got a spare hour, it was a decent documentary. It took you right back to kind of looking up to Tim Henman. I suppose the downfall is the right word. The downfall of Tim Henman, and then the replacement of Andy Murray, the heartbreak of losing to Federer in the final, and then obviously to do what he did in the Olympics the year after, and then Wimbledon the year after that. So
I don't. The shame is with Murray sort of now being definitely out of contention and probably retiring. I can't see another British player being at that level
Not at the
anytime
moment.
soon. Norrie and Evans just aren't that good. So
no, Norrie's had a few years and not kind of done
anything.
Yeah, I would like to see Alcaraz continue. Like I think he probably will.
He's 21, 22. I think he'll kick on a little bit now. I think as he gets a bit mature.
Mainly because I don't like what's his name, Djokovic. And
well,
the other guy, lunatic. What's his name? The lunatic, the guy that smashes rackets up.
Oh, the Aussie.
No, not Tsitsipas. I can't remember his name. The lunatic. It'll come to me.
Well, I know your favourite event started yesterday, the Tour de France, just dead quick. The young French rider took stage 2 win today. He's 23 and he's like the next prodigy of cycling. So
nice
to get a stage win shows that he's doing the right things. But also, just a little bit of the Grand Depart it starts in Italy for the first time in Florence, and so Saturday is the start. It's a 9-day stretch to start with. So they'll yesterday, today, and then Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. There is one 25-kilometer sprint in there, so one of the days is only 25 kilometers. But in those 9 days, they will cover 1,524 kilometers.
Mental.
The length of the UK is 1,000 kilometers, so they will cycle the full length of the UK and halfway again in 9 days before they take a break.
And do you know what? I'm wondering, the first thing that jumped into my mind is what's the elevation? Like, they're not riding down the M1. It's going to be up and down, literally up and down.
It really is, yeah. It really. Well, for context, Mark Cavendish, who delayed his retirement yesterday, it was a 217 kilometre start. And Cavendish is predominantly a sprinter anyway, but after about 60 kilometres, he was roadside being sick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, a bit of extreme heat. Sprinters.
So I'm not obviously huge on Tour de France. In fact, I'm nothing at all on Tour de France. But when you say a 25-kilometre sprint, that's 10% of what would be a 217-kilometre full rate at full.
Yeah.
They literally must be sprinting, going full beans the entire time.
Pretty much, yeah.
That's crazy.
And it's to do is individually, so you sort of set off so many seconds behind the next, someone, so you don't really sort of, you're not in a peloton, getting a bit of tunneling off people or anything like that. It's it is just balls to the wall kind of thing. So I'm hoping Cavendish is not affected him too much. He's quite behind on the general standings, but it's day 2 and he's a sprinter. He just needs a stage win and then he'll just take it steady. So
100%.
Euros.
Yeah, it's currently, just for the listeners' benefit, it's currently the 99th minute in extra time, and I did quite well not to react, but Kane, a minute into extra time, scored a super close range header to put England 2-1 up in this first knockout game, which I've been kind of sending comments through to our group chat just to kind of lay into England, and I probably still will. I probably still will. We are 2-1 up.
For 94 minutes, you were horrific.
Absolutely horrific.
But it's not how you start, it's how you finish.
I disagree. I absolutely... I get it, it's about the result, but, it's absolutely horrendous. And we've had 3 games. The biggest thing from me is we could go through all of the things that England are doing wrong. However, we're not going to do that. And I'll tell you the reason why we don't do that is because every single listener that's listening to this podcast, every single pundit, every single person that's watched the game, whether you're a Wales fan, England fan, Scotland fan, Northern Ireland fan, whether you don't like football, every single individual on this planet knows what we are missing except Gareth Southgate. Is that not true?
Yeah, it's very weird, and looking at the timings of some of the subs, and he did make a positive one in Trippier for Palmer. It was at least it was forward thinking, but
he's making 89th. This is the second game in a row that he's done it. 89th minute. Substitutions,
and they don't seem to be consistent either, which is what gets me.
Yeah, Away from England, I mean, it's 2-1 at the moment, 101 minutes played. It's a pretty kick and run game at this point, so we'll see what does happen. However, we have had some, in the week that's just gone, we have had some pretty decent games. Not to mention Georgia, 2-0 against Portugal to go. Yeah. Brilliant.
They play Spain in the next round. You had Austria beat Netherlands, and last night you had Switzerland beat Italy.
Yeah,
the reigning champions are out.
We've said that Italy have looked poor all the way through this. They've had the same kind of shot on target rate and finishing rate as England. Like, they can't seem to create anything. There's no creativity in the players. Switzerland have been consistent all the way through. Switzerland have been pretty decent.
Their opening game against Hungary, I think it finished 2-1, but
they
looked absolutely solid.
Yeah,
solid. Everything went through Grant Xhaka, who had a brilliant season with Leverkusen, that obviously won the Bundesliga.
Yeah,
they just look solid as a unit, and it's no surprise that they beat Italy. I mean, cracking second goal from Vargas.
Yes,
like cracking goal, but they're not to be. When you look at who's left in it, or especially on this side of the draw, England. England are the best team on this side of the draw. Yeah.
Well, theoretically, you say that, but like we spoke yesterday, and you said to me that it's going to be Switzerland, England, and I said that's presumptuous that we're going to get through. And judging off the first 94 minutes of this game, it was correct in saying England very, very, very nearly went out.
Yeah,
they come up against I would say a decent team, but to be fair, I think every team's played decent. Like, a lot of the Eastern European teams have really impressed me this round of Euros.
Slovakia. Yeah, they've just made it difficult. That's the thing. They've, like with England, they've just put banks of 4 in front of teams. Like Italy, they've just struggled to create anything and break them down. The only team that has been Spain, and for what it is with Germany, yes, they've scored a few goals here and there, but they've just run at teams and I mean, they're not. They look fantastic. Germany and Spain. I mean, they're not going to be the final. They can't be the final, but it would have made for a fantastic final. So,
who do you see in the final? Because for me, I've always said from the very beginning, and if you rewind a couple of weeks, Spain. Like, Spain have been dominant, I think. Not necessarily reflective on some of their score lines, but all of their football has been great to watch, but also has got the job done. But who do you see on the other side to potentially meet Spain in the final?
With where this is at now, I would say England.
Yeah,
because the side of the draw they've had. Look, you can only play the teams in front of you. They've got the Can't say rub of the green or the luck of the draw. You can only, you can't help that you got Slovakia in the next round. It's not like that. So with the side of the draw you're on, I think England Spain final.
Yeah,
I did. Although James is not here, I did get his. So just dead quick, I did get his guesses from him. Oh, you did get a point for a result last week.
Nice.
Nobody else got one, so James still top with 3. Me and you with 1. James, I said England Slovakia. He said 2-1 Slovakia, so that's gone anyway because we're in extra time. And Spain Georgia, he's put 3-0 Spain. So I'm going to give you France versus Belgium.
You know what? That's difficult because France haven't looked convincing and Belgium also haven't looked convincing. I can genuinely see that being a bore draw, but I'm gonna go.
You only get the 90 minutes, so if it goes into extra time, then
I'm gonna go 1-0 France because I can just see that being like pulling teeth.
Okay, and then Romania, Netherlands.
I'm going to go Netherlands, and I'm going to probably go high scoring. I'm probably going to go 3-1 Netherlands.
3-1, okay. I've gone Portugal, Slovenia, and I think that's going to be a 2-0 Portugal. I think Austria-Turkey has got 1-1 written all over it.
Do you know what? I disagree. I reckon Austria nudged that, you know.
I don't know. Turkey have got a bit of experience in the team. I think it'll be Turkey on extra time or penalties.
Yeah.
So, but next week we'll have the roundup of the finish of the second round games, and then I think it's the Friday night. You've got the winner of Spain, Georgia versus Germany, and then you've got the winner of Portugal, Slovenia against France, Belgium.
Yeah.
And the Saturday, I think is England. The winner of this England game will play Switzerland, and then the other quarterfinal is on the Saturday night with a steady Silverstone Grand Prix as well.
It will be steady.
Have a good week.
Take care.
Bye. Thanks for joining us this week on the Sportscast podcast. As normal, you'll get us on our social media, Instagram and X, formerly Twitter, at SportscastPod UK. Join us again next week.